Hi, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about a couple of products from Chanel and Dior. There's a bit of a face-off I'm going to do. I'll just show you what I've got. So starting with Chanel, I picked up a newly reformulated product from them. I had wore it a few years back when they very first released it, and I loved it. It was amazing. However, they reformulated it the first time, and I've got to say I just didn't enjoy wearing the product anymore. They've done now, I believe this will be the third reformulation. Wanted to buy it and try it out, but also at the same time there's a similar product from Dior which I don't really get on with, and I'll explain why. And I've got a sample of that, so I'm going to wear one half of my face with the Dior, the other half of my face with Chanel. I'm going to go away, do everything I need to do today. I'm going to come back and check in later on and tell you if either product was any good and which product is the best out of the two of them. So let me get this open first. Now, as part of the Chanel thing, because it at the moment it's the holiday packaging, they allowed you to pick a little charm, and I've got the little snowflake this year. I do collect these charms by Chanel, they're gorgeous, but last year they would only give these charms out if you wasn't in store, that is, I mean online. They would only give the charms out online if you bought something really expensive. So this year, I wouldn't deem this product very expensive, but of course Chanel, so it's premium beauty. It's premium beauty, obviously, so it doesn't come cheap. But there's the little charm there, and I just think it's really cute. And like I say, every year for the last two, 3 years, this will be the third year they've been giving out these charms on the holiday collections. So yeah, I got the snowflake, which I don't own. Packaging, I'll just put that aside. I've got a couple of little samples. A number one cream, just a face cream, and also the Duo Intense eye makeup remover. So yeah, I find that eye makeup remover is really good. Actually, I probably eventually will buy it full size, sorry. Yeah, the product I'm talking about has also been renamed, and they're now calling it the Ultra Latent Velvet Foundation, and with a velvet matte finish. Now I got a new shade in this. I got the BD21, where the previous one I had purchased by Chanel was the B20, which is what I always wear in Chanel foundations. Now, as I was mentioning, I don't generally wear matte foundations. However, I did love this when they first released it, so I'm hoping to fall back in love with it with this third formulation. I know the second reformulation, I don't know what they did to it. I don't know how they changed it, but I just didn't enjoy it as much. So I'm hoping this one is fantastic, and also very good on mature skin, because just bearing in mind that generally I steer clear of any matte products. I don't think they lend themselves to anyone with lines on the face. I'll just get it out to show you. Now, it's got a matte top. The first formulation I ever bought it was all gloss finish, so this is new to me. But I think the second formulation also had that. You give it a good shake like you do with the Aqua Lumiere. So give it a good shake up, because I've never used this. It probably needs quite a shake to get all the product together. I believe they're water-based, and that's why you do need to shake them up. And if you want to stop the video, that is the ingredients on the back there. Hopefully that's focusing for you. And let me see if it says anything. It says it's a blurring smoothing effect. It gives a blurring smoothing effect, fluid foundation, velvet matte, finish, no transfer, and it's been dermatologist tested. Now, usually they say it's non-comedogenic, but they're not saying that this time, which I find quite strange. This time it's got a 12-month shelf life, 30 mils or 1 fluid ounce. Water is the main ingredient, and I can't see anything in there that would be of any concern to me. Yeah, so as I say, the ingredients are down there. If you want to stop and look at them, there they are. I will apply the Chanel Matte Foundation to this side of my face, and then I have the Christmas Dior packaging. So when I wanted to order another product in here, which I'm going to wear today as well, and that has also been newly reformulated. Now, I loved the first one, and this is the only time it's been reformulated, so we're going to see what it's like. And it is the Dior Skin Correct 24-hour wear hydration creamy concealer, full coverage, 11 mils or 0.37 fluid ounces, and I have it in 0N neutral because I like to wear this under my eyes. So there we go. And so I wanted to repurchase that to see if it's any different from the first time I wore it. And I have a few samples in here. They give me a few extra samples actually, Dior, compared to Chanel. So I got Le Serum, I got anti-wrinkle cream, and then I got ounce Oud Ispahan, the perfume, which is quite woody and oudy. It's quite a nice perfume actually. And then I got a Skin Glow Forever, so I wanted to revisit that one. And then the matte version, which is what I'm going to try on this side of my face. So with the Forever foundation, the original foundation they used to do in this range years back I loved it. It was a great foundation. It was neither matte nor glowy. It was like a satin finish. It was beautiful. It really did wear so well. It was so blaring. And then they decided to bring out the Star foundation. Not quite as good in my opinion. But then after a couple of years, they got rid of that and they brought out the two foundations. So one for glowy skin and one for matte. I found I didn't really get on with the matte, but however, it was a while ago. So I want to give it a try today and see if it wears any better than the brand new reformulated matte foundation from Chanel. I'm really interested in this one. Like I say, it's only just been released again, so you should be finding it now in stores. I think this video comes in perfect timing for if you want to revisit or repurchase or buy it again. So if you've got to this stage of the video and you're interested in what I'm going to show you so far, please press a like and share my video. That would be really so helpful for me. I'm a really tiny channel. I'm trying to grow. I buy all my own products. None of these are sent for me to look at. I promise you that. And if they ever wear, which I doubt they will be, but if they ever wear, I will be very transparent on that. And so yeah, and if you want to stay to the end of the video and you are happy and you think it's content you'd like to see again, then subscribing would be just the icing on the cake for me. So thank you very much in advance for that. Now let's crack on and get into this wear test. So as you can see, I've already done my eyes. That was just basically to minimize time taken up with, you know, faffing around with that, because the video really is about the foundation. So I'm going to give this one another shake. On the website it does say to apply with your fingers, so this is what I'm going to do today. Normally I would use a brush, but for the sake of consistency I'll apply both with fingers, and that way no one can say, well, that brush would have produced this effect and this brush would have produced that effect. So I'm just going to use my fingers and just give, like I say, because it's been sitting for so long, I want to make sure. Right, Okay, so you get a little twist off. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand first. It came out quite easy. It's quite runny. I do quite like that shade actually. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention I have prepped my skin with moisturizers. I've done that at least half an hour ago to allow them to completely sink in. They don't also affect the ability of this foundation being a matte foundation. Right, let me just start. And I'll just... So I just done one little squirt because obviously it's not a pump foundation. And like I say, I will, as ever, I always use a excuse me, a concealer. So it's quite a bit of colour on this foundation, but actually I'm quite pleased with that because, to be honest, I get really pale. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I get really pale in the winter, so please do not compare the colours of these foundations, because the Dior one will be lighter because that's my usual shade. So far I love the feel of this foundation. You know, it's really, it says it is what it says. It's very velvety. Now I always remember it being quite velvety. I never remember it feeling any other way. That's quite pleasing. And when I say it's matte, as you can see, there's still a little bit of satin finish there. Now that was only one little squirt out the bottle, so probably if I was going to do the other side, I need two pump, equivalent of 2 pumps. Yeah, I quite like that. So far so good. Next up, now I know this is only a sample, but these samples will generally at least give you one entire coverage of the face, and I'm only going to put it on this side of my face. And like I say, I do a wear test on both. I'll see how they work in comparison to how they, let me just look, sorry, how they, yeah, this one does mattify down the pores as well. And it's not promoting any texture on my skin either. It's not interfering with, yeah, I put it up to this point on my eyes and it hasn't enhanced the lines in any way. It's not adhering to any tacking, you know, any dry bits on the skin, so it's not promoting dryness on my skin in any way. Now this is B20, which would be my normal shade. It's a bit difficult to get it out because it's a sachet. Yeah, B20. It's not as runny as you can see. And let's pop this on this side of my face. So with Dior foundations, they tend to be quite brightening. They have more of a slight yellow tone on them, which some people either can get on with or don't get on with. I don't mind. I find it quite a nice colour. It probably neutralizes the pink tone in my skin, so it probably works well. That's why it works well for me, why they work well for me, the Dior ones. Now I find this is drying down very quick. Bearing in mind I've got no primer whatsoever on my skin, which would help, to be honest, it would help with the movement of the foundation. Normally I would put even if I was wearing a matte product, I would still put probably either a matte or a slightly glowy, sorry, primer underneath my makeup. So I'm giving it a proper test today without that. Now I find this, like, it's difficult to move. As you can see, it's not got that same lovely texture as what the the Chanel has. However, I don't think it's too bad either, you know. It's just you might have to work a little bit faster with it if you were to wear it, you know. And some of you might own this, and it'd be interesting to know what you think of the Dior one if you do own it. Now again, I don't see any highlighting of lines. It's smoothed over the pores. Maybe not here so much. Let me put a bit more on there actually, because in fairness I haven't put enough on around the bottom side of my nose. I don't like putting too much around my mouth area. Foundation, or here you find that it tends to gather there. That's quite aging, that, you know. So if you're ever putting foundation on, makeup artists generally ask you to then remove any excess here, because it can be quite aging for mature skin. Let me have a look now. I think the Dior is just slightly more matte than the Chanel. The Chanel does have that. It's like an inner luminosity, like do you know, like a glow from within kind of luminosity. However, I'm not unhappy with the Dior one so far. I'm not unhappy with it. Would I buy this over the Chanel? Well, let's see. For the actual application, I think the Chanel applied much better. It's much more emollient. However, it's got a lovely, it just feels lovely. If this is set down now, this is probably going to set down anyway. Yeah, it's starting to set down, starting to feel quite nice. So yeah, so far so good on both sides, to be honest. What are you thinking? I mean, in terms of shades, they're not actually that far off, are they? I think actually this is slightly paler than the B20 and the Dior, which is interesting. I thought this would be darker, but it isn't. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply my Dior. I'll just get it out to show you. Now I do buy a really pale one, because I like to brighten up under my eyes. One I bought previously, like I say, it's a new formulation. I'll have to look up. I will, if I can find the reason why they did formulate it, but I can't remember because it was over a year ago. I'm assuming they would have removed the... Yeah, I can't see any talc in the ingredients list. There's the ingredients list, by the way, if you want to stop or pause the video and have a look at that. No, I can't see any talc in this concealer. There might never have been talc in it, by the way. So I'm just assuming that would be the reason why they've changed the formulation. So let's get a bit of this on, get it under my eyes, and I'll pop it around. I'll just do a quick swatch for you so you can see it there. And it is lovely and creamy. And a little bit goes a long way, by the way, just so you know. And I'll just pop that under my eyes. Tend to get the most darkest there, and here on the edges, around my nose, and here. Okay. And this is also what I will report back on as well. I'm trying to see if it's any better than my current concealer I use. I use the Tarte Creamy Shape Tape, which I love. It's very creamy and emollient. And my favourite one is, the other one I own is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. I own the foundation and the concealer in that, and I love the concealer. It's so creamy. However, it is super expensive. Well, that blends in super fast, which is great news. And it's blending well over both foundations as well. So that's good news. So it looks quite bright. What I'll do is I'll set that down with a touch of powder now. And I'm just going to use my trusty Givenchy Prism Libre. And this one I'm using the Mousseline Pastel shade. Just get a little bit of that. Tap off any excess, and don't try not to powder too much under my eyes, you know, for obvious reasons. So just a little bit of where I popped the concealer and not so much across the face, because we want to see what exactly how it's going to wear for the next few hours. And I will come back and report back, by the way, just so you know. So what I'm going to do now, I'll come back in a second. I'm just going to finish off all the rest of my makeup, and then I will let you know what I'll do next. So just to let you know, I've popped on the Chanel Le Beige in medium coral. I've just used the powder, all trio of the powders. So I've done the bronze, the blush, and then some of the highlights. And I've done it on both cheeks, as you can see, a little bit on the forehead and underneath my chin. Next up, I'm just going to quickly do, so I'm going to use my Nude Brum 162 pencil. There. I'm going to just quickly do my lips. And then I'm going to finish off with my Rouge Coco from Chanel 402 Adrienne to keep it all quite lovely and natural looking. And this is a very creamy nude colour with a touch of, it's got a slight touch of coral in it. A very popular shade from Chanel. So that is the completed look for now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back in, so approximately, I'll check back in 4 hours, and then again in 8, and we'll see which side is wearing the best of. So whether it's the Dior side or the Chanel side is wearing the best, and also how the brand new reformulated, well, when I say brand new, it's about a year it's been reformulated. Brand new to me because it's the first time I've bought it since it was reformulated. I will let you know if I like it any more than the previous version. I was very happy with the previous version. The only thing I would say about the previous version, it worked better on the face as a concealer. It was slightly drying under the eyes. However, a lot of people have reported that this formula is much better under the eyes. So let's see how this wears under the eye, and I'll also report back on that and compare it with the two of my other favorite concealers. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you got to the end, and also share the video. It does help the algorithm. It helps me get noticed, and I'm really trying to get my numbers up there. If I haven't mentioned it before, or you're new to my channel, you wouldn't have heard this before. But when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do quite a nice little giveaway of luxury beauty. So it is worth you subscribing anyway. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hi all, this is my first check-in. It's been nearly 4 hours now, and I've had my tea, something to eat. I have had to blow my nose, so I've wore off some of the makeup around my nose. So just on first check-in, I noticed that obviously some of the makeup's wore off around my nose, as I said. So that's not really a fair indicator of the makeup itself. I am preferring the Chanel side of the makeup, only slightly though, and the only reason why I am is because it's remained, sorry, just let me get that, I'm just looking. I need to put my glasses on as well. Yeah, it's not settled into any of my pores. On the Dior side, it just emphasizes the pores slightly, a little bit more. However, on the Dior side, I noticed it still remaining slightly more matte than the Chanel side, although I feel that it's settled a little bit into lines as well. But there's really not a lot in it at the moment. I prefer the Chanel side. Now, with regards to the concealer, obviously I wiped it off around my nose, so that's a bit unfair. I might reapply that and just, well, I won't reapply it. It's still holding on under my eyes and around my eyes, so that's good. It hasn't emphasized any lines any further, and don't forget I did powder it as well. Yeah, it hasn't emphasized the lines anymore, so I am quite happy with the concealer. In all honesty, it's managed to stay put here as well, whereas most of the other concealers wear off. Next one is coming again in 4 hours, and that'll be my final review. I shall see you then. Bye for now. Hi, so just checking in for the final time. It's been 7.5 hours now since I applied the makeup, and just my final thoughts on both the Dior and the Chanel newly reformulated Ultra Le Teint Velvet Matte Foundation. It boasts that it has, and the Chanel one has blurring capabilities. I just want to see how it was. It did blur out the pores. It didn't highlight any lines. Yeah, I do believe it's great for maturing skin. It develops a shine even more as we're going along. Some of it's wore off where I've eaten and drank and blew my nose. Yeah, it's a nice foundation for maturing skin. I don't believe it's any worse than any of the glowy foundations I wear. Staying power is about relatively the same. I wouldn't probably powder it down when I first apply it, but I would apply a setting spray to increase longevity. As for the Dior side, let me just check that. Yeah, I think it didn't blur the pores out very well. It isn't known for being a blurring foundation though. It's known more for being matte. I would say it's no more matte than the Chanel side at this stage. I don't think the Chanel side's got any worse. I think the Dior one has slowly become more glowy over time, so my oily T-zone has peeked through, and I think the Chanel one has peaked already. It's not got any worse for the last 3 hours. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy with both of them for different reasons. I think it's just what you prefer. You'll get more of a velvet feel and a slightly powdery look from the Chanel one when you first apply it. It does disappear quite quickly, that. You will get more of a matte finish on the Dior side. If you've got a oily T-zone like myself with large open pores around the nose, it won't blur them very well. But bearing in mind I use my fingers to apply the foundation and not a brush. I think I was using a brush to really get in there and buff out the pores, so that might help a bit. Both are great foundations in their own way, so neither one of them's worse than the other one. I would probably prefer the Chanel one, if I'm being honest. I think it just gives a more natural blurred effect on my particular skin. However, do I find well, the thing is with the Ultra Le Teint is that the very first one I ever bought was the best version it could be, and the second time I bought it, I noticed it didn't give the finish. The finish didn't remain on the skin, and I've noticed it with this version too. So it's not ever going to be as good as the first one they ever released. Just in case I forgot to mention, it doesn't contain SPF anymore, which I'm quite chuffed about. I don't like SPF in foundations. They tend to not look as good on the skin. And remove the talc from the product. Well, sorry, does clog the pores a little bit, so I'm probably happy with that as well. Is it any different to Vitalumia Aqua? Well, probably Vitalumia Aqua is one of my all-time favourite Chanel foundations, and Le Beige is my second. Le Beige has a bit more coverage and I'm still using that, so I haven't bought the Vitalumia Aqua just yet. This one is a medium coverage, and I'll say it is medium coverage. That probably could be built. Overall, quite pleased with both foundations for different reasons, but if I was to buy the Dior one, I would really buff it into those pores and probably go a bit easy around any lines so it doesn't settle. Sorry, one more thing to say about the Dior concealer. Yeah, it's still under my eyes. It hasn't highlighted the lines anymore. I probably would have to apply a bit more at this stage, especially around the nose, where I blew my nose, so I wiped most of it off. So that's my fault, not the concealers. Thank you for watching and for coming back and watching and liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.